Hi, I am here to determine the cost of my avoidance.
Okay, let's make some calculations. Avoiding problems, avoiding dealing with difficulties, avoiding emotional attachment, avoiding just because you are avoiding a little bit, avoiding a lot, avoiding everything, avoiding vacation, avoiding work, avoiding a promotion, avoiding, avoiding, and a bit more of avoiding.
As you can see, the cost of avoidance can be quite high, both on an emotional and on a financial level. We are too worried about discomfort, and so we just avoid it. But we might not be able to pay for the cost of it, of that avoidance. And on our last book club, we decided to ask the people on our community to just make a list of things they had avoided and how much they had cost them, both on an emotional level and on a financial level. And we got scared. Once you put a number to it, it starts to be not as abstract and you really realize what you have been missing, which is something good because we can fix it. Let me give you two personal examples of things that I avoided and how much they cost me. The first one is an emotional example. Two of the biggest loves of my life were my grandparents. Yet, I never told them I loved them. The reason why? In Portugal, it is not common to say I love you. We just don't, which is wrong, I know. And so I didn't. I avoided the discomfort of just coming to them and say, I love you. Now they died and I cannot do anything about it. So I'll get to live the rest of my life with that very expensive cost, which I cannot fix anymore. And now a financial cost I deal with still today. As you know, I lost my business. But during many months, many years, things were not going right. However, I avoided asking for help because I felt that was too vulnerable, too uncomfortable, just to, let my problems be public and ask people to save me because my business was dying. I preferred pride and perfectionism, and so that cost me my business and, of course, tens of thousands of euros. As you can see, avoidance can be quite expensive, and when it starts to be not so abstract, we realize how much is at stake and how much we could have, avoided these kind of things. The fact is, being avoidant is every time more expensive than being vulnerable. As you know, I always find solutions for the problems we speak about in here in books. And today I chose something a bit unconventional, which is a fiction book. So today's book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This is in Portuguese, the original language, but you can find it in every possible language because it's an absolute classic. It's an inspiring read. I totally recommend it, especially now for the summer, in case you are in a summer country right now. What has this book to do with being an avoidant or with avoidance? This book tells us the story of Santiago, a young shepherd who is traveling the world looking for a treasure that he really desires. And on his way, he meets a big avoidant, which is the owner of a crystal glassware store. Santiago starts working there and he realizes that they could sell more if they did just some changes. So he approaches the owner and says, why don't we build a stand outside so that people can see the crystal glassware and be excited about the possibility of buying it? And the owner is very conservative. He's scared that people will just break the glasses. And so he doesn't want to do it. He says, besides that, if we start selling more, I'll have to adjust, I'll have to adapt, and I'm used to this modus operandi. Why am I going to do it? It feels too risky just to change everything. Well, eventually, Santiago is able to convince him. They put the stand outside and they even start selling tea on the crystal glassware glasses. And it works. It's an absolute success. They start selling a lot, they have more clients, they have to hire more employees. And so you see, the owner was avoiding the discomfort of possibly breaking some glasses, of adapting his way of working. And in the end, because he didn't, because Santiago convinced him, he was able to sell much more. If he didn't go on this route, he would have missed all of that money, all of those clients, that experience. So this gives us an example that is, of course, in a book, but that applies to real life. Haven't you done that before with your life? Haven't you avoided taking that riskier step? Just protect yourself from changing your behavior, to maybe having to learn more, to put a bit more effort, and you stay in your safe zone. But that costs a lot, emotionally and also on a financial level. By the end of Santiago's experience working for this store, he has a very deep talk with the owner. And the owner confesses that he has a dream of making this trip. And he just doesn't. Because he says, I have two problems with it. One of them is that I might get disappointed. What if I was dreaming about this all my life and then I don't like it? That feels too painful, so I'm just not going to do it. And the other risk is that he defined himself by his dream. His life was about his dream. So if he would accomplish it, if he would fulfill his dream, then he wouldn't have anything else to hold on to. I know this is heavy stuff, but I'm sure many of you, at least I can relate. You know those holidays that you wanted to do and you wanted to see, I don't know, whatever, Kathmandu, you wanted to go to Peru, but you just don't because the time is never right and you are afraid that you are avoiding. We are all avoiding so many things, and we have to think about the cost here. What is the bigger or the biggest cost? Is being uncomfortable and just doing it? Or just being very comfortable and unhappy because we never got to do it? That's my challenge for you today. Just grab a piece of paper, divide it in two. Think about things that you really want to do, or things that you did in the past or that you didn't do in the past, and check for costs. How much did it cost you not to do that? How much did it cost you emotionally not to say those words? Just think about the cost, and once you put a price or an emotion to it, it is easier to feel a bit more daring about things you can do right now in order not to avoid anymore. That was it for today. I hope you enjoyed our episode. I also hope you subscribe to this channel and that you put a like on this episode, that you comment. I can't wait to talk to you. I won't be an avoidant, so I'll answer. So see you very soon. Don't forget also to follow us on the social networks of the Understories. We are on Instagram and we are on Substack. Read us, talk to us, and don't avoid us.